Hi, this is Elizabeth Mack with the Tallahassee Democrat, and you're watching Limelight Live. And this week, I am at B-Sharp's Jazz Cafe in Frenchtown, and joining me for the show is Barry Stevenson, who's been playing here for quite some time. He's gone on doing a few different things, but he's coming back to Tallahassee to put on a special show, and we'll be talking a little bit about that. But first, Barry, tell me how you got into music.
I started playing electric bass like around, how was that? It was like 2001. I think I was like 13. I was in 8th grade. And just joined the jazz band in like 9th grade, just kind of through like a scheduling conflict actually. So it just kind of inadvertently happened to be like, I was in jazz band learning this stuff, and then it kind of like, as you can obviously tell, took off from there, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So some other, it just kind of like happened. It wasn't like, not everyone in my family was a musician. Like my grandfather plays tenor sax and my dad sings and stuff, but it wasn't that kind of deal. It's just kind of something I felt like I needed to do,
Yeah, that's cool. I think music is in my veins too. My grandfather plays bass guitar, but it's like he's from Mississippi. Straight blues. I love it so much. I think that's why I love jazz
some
so
of that
much.
Southern soul, Southern soul all day.
So then, I guess, how did you get into, you went to school at FSU, correct? And that's
Yeah, I graduated FSU last spring actually from the Jazz Studies department, and after that I got actually a full scholarship at the University of New Orleans. Like, so now I study over there with Roland Guerin, Jazz Studies again. But I actually was here from like 05 to like 2010, and like
here at B-Sharp's.
yeah. Well, B-Sharp's opened up. I want to say 2008.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, B-Sharp's didn't open up until 2008, I believe.
How did you find out about B-Sharp's?
I had a good friend who knew Clarence C., one of the owners here, and like he introduced me to him, and I actually met them before the club opened up. So like, we actually were the first the first house band for the jam sessions that are on Wednesday nights. Yeah, and like it was cool. We did that for I think about a semester or so. So that's how I really got to know Clarence and Jerry C. And then they gave me my own night on Fridays during one, I can't remember, it was the fall of like, I want to say 09. It was the fall of 09. They gave me like my own like Fridays. You tried to come to those, yeah. We used to do every Friday here with my band.
Just about every single Friday after, I would come in after downtown get downs.
And that's when I started Barry Stevenson's Pocket. That was right when I pegged that name, because I did a gig here with my own music, like and some arrangements I did, like under a different name in a different band, but like this one, like I was kind of like doing more arrangements of like popular tunes, like by radio. Yeah, I mean, and arrange, and like I was doing like original compositions, and like also like I'd arrange like this Radiohead tune or something like that, and so like we'd play that. But then I did. You also came to a couple of the Composium series we did here, and that was a really, really good thing. That was completely original music the entire way, and it was everybody was collaborating on it, so it actually worked out very, very well,
And then so I guess, since that, I didn't realize that you kind of just fell into it. What is it that you like about jazz as opposed to other genres of music?
Well, I guess for me, because like I said, I started playing in 8th grade, I was listening to like heavy metal and like rock and roll and like punk rock and stuff like that, and then like I was listening to ska and like reggae and like high school and punk rock and stuff. And listening, grew up on like, hip hop and gospel. My mom used to listen to that. So it's like, you get all that, and then it's like I came here and it was like I started playing classical music, getting into jazz and playing in blues bands and reggae bands and all that stuff. But the one thing I really, really enjoy, that although I love playing all types of music, like it doesn't really matter to me, it's just a style, And each style has like its own characteristics, but the one thing that jazz allows you to do is really, really connect with anybody, even if you don't really know them and they don't even speak English. Like I've met people who really can't communicate verbally, but as soon as they sit down at their instrument, it's like we can have a conversation, and we can't even have like a verbal conversation. Yeah, it's like, but we can communicate.
Language.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing when you realize how like it really, really connects people and the audience, And it's like a certain freedom of expression that jazz allows you. That's, I think, my favorite part about it. Like,
so do you see a lot of, tell me what you see about the local jazz scene here, because I think we have a lot of jazz musicians here, and even though there's not probably a lot of places where you can catch them, there's probably just like not even a handful. It's probably like two.
Oh well, the crazy thing about the jazz scene here is that you know, Tallahassee is a very, very transient city, being a college town that it is, and it needs you know, it has like a bunch of people who come in for like short stints of time and then they go, you know.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Tallahassee is it allows you to be around a lot of like-minded musicians, and allows you to like really work on your craft. So like there's a lot of really, really talented young musicians who are all writing and playing, and they're just phenomenal. It's just, but they come here to kind of like hone their skills a little bit, and then they move on to like, you know, other, you know, adventures. You know.
And then you have an event coming up this weekend that's on Saturday, correct?
Yeah.
You're at B-Sharp's?
Yeah, I'm actually.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of similar to the Composiums in the sense of like it's gonna be all original music, but it's not gonna be any like one genre or anything like that. It's just gonna be some songs that I haven't played in public, you know, before, and a lot of.
So, a hint on what was your inspiration behind these songs?
Life.
It was very themed. Like there was a gospel night. There was
there was
kind of like a rock. I don't know if it was like rock and roll, but it was very.
Well, you know, the Composiums we did. The first one was Jazz-Is. The second one we did it was Soul Food, where we did like the neo soul and R&B and hip hop. The third one was Dub Roots, where we did reggae. The fourth one was Funk and the Rocks. That's where we did the rock and the funk. That was fun.
The guy was. We were all making jokes and doing he would pop a string. He didn't pop any strings. It's really great. And
then we did the fifth one was the Book of Blues, the gospel one. The sixth one was Independence Day, where we did like the indie. Did you come to the one? It was like we came to. It was like the folk band. You know, some friends of mine came from South Florida. And then the seventh one was like the strings and things, where we did like a jazz trio with a string quartet. I think you might have. That was the last one. That was the last. That was the last concert I did as a leader at B-Sharp's, was on that night. So this is kind of like a returning home. It's called Reminiscing in Perpetual Motion. So I'm trying to capture like, you know, where I've come from, which is here, you know what I'm saying? And I'm moving on currently, but I'm still, you know, taking what I've learned and moving forward and trying to, you know, take the tradition to a different place in my own way, you know.
And I think you mentioned to me before that you may be having an album coming out. Even.
Yeah, like that's gonna be, I'm in the works of getting everything together, like the dates and everything, but I'm gonna be recording during the summer, and I wanna get it out, if I can by the fall, at the latest I wanna get it out in the spring of 2012.
So then, do you know we'll be able to find that when you do?
Yeah, you can go to my website, barrystevensonmusic.com.
Okay.
Stevenson with a PH. Steve with a PH. And yeah, you can check it out there, and there's all my dates and everything, and sound clips.
Well, as usual, I also bring you other events going on around Tallahassee. Starting today will be Boombox with Grand Queso Blanco at the End Room at 9 p.m. And then there's Free Hugs at Mockingbird Cafe, and that starts at 7 p.m. On Thursday, for all of my foodies out there, there will be a chili cook-off at the American Legions from 7 to 9 p.m. So if you love your chili, there's nothing like a good chili cook-off.
Oh, those are
chili.
good.
Spicy chili, too. I don't even like spicy food like that, but if it's spicy chili, I'm down for it. And then the Festival of New Music is having their opening concert, 15th annual year at Opperman Music Hall on the FSU campus at 8 p.m. You should know a little bit about that.
Well, some of my... One of the string quartet that's playing Saturday, they're coming from that event to B-Sharp's to play for the second set. But the first set will be good too, I swear.
Richie Suma Duo, they'll be having a free performance at the Midtown Filling Station at 6 p.m. Chuck D was supposed to be having a talk on Tuesday, but that was postponed till Friday. He's going to be coming out to FSU campus at Club Down Under. I highly suggest it. I mean, to me, he's like influential in hip hop, and you just can't turn that down.
Legend right there.
Yes, it's legendary. The doors open at 7:30. It starts at 8:30. If you're not a student, it's $8. If you're an FSU student, it's free for you. So you're lucky. I'll be paying my $8 like everybody else.
Is there any alumni discount? What's up with that?
That'd be nice. But then also the Readers Theater performance of A Night to Remember, we featuring actually Sheriff Larry Campbell. So, you know, if you're into, I heard that the roast that they had on him was pretty good. So I feel like him performing in this play is going to be amazing. So if you want to check that out, that's going to be at the Civic Center on Friday. Also on Saturday, if you just don't feel that you want to check out some jazz, there's going to be the 6th annual Country Western Dance and Barbecue at the Elks Lodge at 6:30 p.m. I like barbecue. I'm not necessarily a fan of country music, but hey.
You never know. You may find something out there you like. You never
know. You never know. Other than that, Zach Bartholomew Trio is going to be performing at the Dixie Theater in Apalachicola, and Zach Harmon will be performing at the Bradford Bills Blues Club at 10 p.m., and that's on Saturday as well. And likewise, you can check out any of these events on Limelight, our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/LimelightTDO with 2 T's, or you can also follow us on Twitter. And I think that's all for this week. Thanks for joining me again. I'm Elizabeth Mack, and you just watched Limelight Live. See you next time. Bye.